To put that in perspective, that was May of 1919. In July of 69, 50 years later and a couple of months, Neil Armstrong is walking on the moon.
So, Sterls, as we're leaving the Nimitz flight deck, walking into this new beautiful atrium that I see here, tell us what we have to expect.
You are in the South Wing, which is actually the oldest part of the museum. When I mentioned the museum was founded in '63, we've been on site here since '75. And this building was a rectangular, about a 50,000 square foot building. 5 years later, we popped out the sides. The entrance is now our Cubi Cafe, which is our restaurant, which is a phenomenal restaurant, which doubles as an actual exhibit. It is fashioned after the Naval Air Station Cubi Point Officer Club bar. The plaques and memorabilia in there actually came from that bar, which was, you can imagine, the Philippines, Western Pacific.
Oh, yeah.
It was a big Navy hub. At Subic Bay was the port. NAS Cubi was the air station that was co-located with it. And certainly due in Vietnam, but all the way back to World War II, the Navy had a presence there until Mount Pinatubo erupted in '91 and buried Subic, NAS Cubi, and Clark Air Force Base under about 8 feet of ash.
Wow.
The CEO of the base was really savvy, sent in a reclamation team. They pulled down all those plaques, threw them in a box, shipped them to the museum. And when we expanded the museum, because that used to be our entrance, and added the West Wing and the Blue Angel Atrium, we turned that into that world-class bar that is open 362 days a year.
I've eaten there numerous times,
Yep.
and I can assure you, feed approves.
Feed approves, good. Looking here at our NC-4, this large flying boat, interestingly, this is one airplane that I don't actually own. Does not belong to the National Naval Aviation Museum. It is on loan from the National Air and Space Museum, the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It is the first aircraft to cross the Atlantic. It did it, a series of stops, flying boat with tenders, took forever to do it, took weeks to do it, but it crossed the Atlantic in May of 1919, well before Lindbergh did it by himself a decade or so later.
Over 100 years ago.
100 years ago. To put that in perspective, that was May of 1919. In July of '69, 50 years later and a couple of months, Neil Armstrong is walking on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Their average speed of advance was 80 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And 50 years and a couple of months later, Neil Armstrong's walking on the
That's a long way to go.
Yeah, that tells you a little bit about the technology.
So,
jump
Charles, as
there.
we're looking at these airplanes, are these replicas or are these the actuals?
These are actual
airplanes.
We have
that
very
flown.
few replicas. On your right, you have your kind of interwar years, post-World War I. On your left, you have the early jet era of the first generation of jet aircraft. You've got a couple of World War II aircraft, the venerable F4U Corsair. You see some trainer airplanes here.